Thomas.
Thank you.
Recording has begun. Madam Chairwoman, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I'd like to go ahead and call to order the August 10th Design Review Board meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
For all.
Go ahead and we'll begin with the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the June 16th meeting. Any notes, comments? I did not see anything.
No comments.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The minutes have been approved for the June 16th meeting. The next item on the agenda up for discussion is the SMECO streetlights town recommendations.
Good morning, everyone. For the record, Laura Lyon, Planner 2. SMECO is redoing the streetlights all throughout the town, and they are leaning and recommending that we switch to LED lighting. They have provided us some examples. Craig, if you could go down to the last two. There you go. I'm not quite sure exactly. There's a lot here to pick from, and I know that the first ones are residential capabilities. I'm thinking that these are the only commercial capabilities. I'm not exactly sure. This actually comes from the Planning Commission, I believe. So they have met with Keep the Planet Beautiful, and they have offered their advice and guidance, and they are looking for no hotter than 3,000 Kelvin. Kelvin is the measurement of the unit of temperature. It's similar to Fahrenheit and Celsius. So they're recommending no more than 3,000 Kelvin for these lights, as opposed for the birds and the bees and the trees, I guess. But they're looking for the Design Review Board recommendation as well. So if you guys had a chance to look at those, and I'm assuming it's just these, but I would like for, feedback on all of them, because they're all going to be an option for the residential neighborhoods and not just in the downtown area.
So I assume that the town is going to approve an assortment of these fixtures for different locations. Like if it's on one of the streets in the central business area, it might be one of the more decorative fixtures, and then one of these that we're looking at right now might be applicable to one of the locations along 301.
I believe so. That is correct. Yes.
Okay. From what I saw, I think they're all attractive fixtures. I would agree with the 3,000 Kelvin. That refers to the color of the light.
Yes.
So for everyone's awareness, 2700 is similar to incandescent light bulbs you have in your house or used to have in your house.
Mm-hmm.
3,000, I agree, is as cool as one would want to go. I would encourage a mock-up to be, since this will be a big project, just so that the powers that be can see it in person.
Yeah.
That might be nice.
Okay.
Yeah. And the one that you're on the screen now, 301 lighting, that looks a little too industrial for the downtown business area. So I agree with David in that there should be different styles used for the downtown area versus the highway.
So maybe I have it incorrect. I'm just, that's me assuming. I'm thinking that, yes, as we're talking about this, I think that those will be in like the parking lots along the 301 corridor, not so much the downtown area. If you look at these.
Those colonial looking fixtures are nice because they have that solid cap,
right,
which will allow the light to be focused downward, which of course is I think what we need to do. That one that had a acrylic globe. That one, I think that's very attractive. I'm not sure how applicable that'll be able to be because it's going to let light go upward.
Mhm.
Which, as you stated, I think that's something we need to avoid because of wildlife and light pollution.
Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful picture.
Yep. Okay.
What is the time frame on implementing these?
What was that?
What is the time frame for implementing these?
I am not sure, but I think it's supply and demand. So I think it's going to be one of those when they come, they're here. I do know that the Keep Up Better Beautiful recommendation also asked for, like you had mentioned, like a trial, like a mock-up of let's see it in person. So I think that would be a good standpoint.
And then it also indicates that it's the rental, the town has to rent.
Mm-hmm.
Is that's not what is happening now. They're just servicing the lighting. The town isn't paying rental fees for the lighting. Am I correct or no?
I am not sure. I can find the answer to that out. I do believe that everything is rented. I think that, and I base that analysis on, when my previous employer, when you, in a residential subdivision, you got to pick your streetlights, but you just rented them. You had to pay SMECO because technically they're in a SMECO right of way.
Right.
So if something were to happen, SMECO's the one that comes to fix them and replace them. The town does not.
So this fee is already incurred in the town budget. It's not going
Oh,
to.
it's not new. It's
Yeah,
it's
okay.
not new at all.
Yeah, I agree with David. I think I understand the impact of lighting and things and wanted to maintain the light to focus downward. So any of the colonial with the caps look fine.
Okay. Great.
So at this point, are we moving to approve this, or is this just a for our information type thing?
If you could move to approve it,
Yeah, because that was my question. Are we just agreeing with Keep La Plata Beautiful and suggesting that they continue? We agree with that, or are we actually approving lighting? Because I know that, we would like a mock-up as to what type of lighting is going to go where.
I need a recommendation for the mayor and council from you all.
Okay. All right. So,
Well, our recommendation would,
I think go ahead.
no, you go ahead, David.
Well, I think the recommendation would be one of the colonial style fixtures with the solid cap for the central business areas. The commercial fixtures are fine for 301 corridor. The globe, which I call the Washington globe, that's used a lot in DC. I would lean away from that unless there's some sort of internal part that focuses the light downward. But again, we want to be careful about having too many different styles.
correct.
So unless there's a really strong reason to have a third type, I'm open to that, but I don't. Maybe they have ideas about where to put that. Like maybe there's a specific, like the Washington Globe goes, right at Town Hall only, and that makes that special. And that's fine.
By the Washington Globe, you mean the acorn style?
It's a solid globe.
Style, yeah.
Do we have a motion? That was the recommendation. Motion to approve the recommendation presented by David.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. Next on our agenda is the Planning Department project updates.
Right. Right. So that's me again. Good morning, Planner 2, Laura Lyon. For upcoming projects, we will have the car wash coming before you, the Roserick Corner Common Sign Plan, and the Charles County Government Garage Structure, which Janine and I discussed briefly the other day, and through more investigation with Ron Litton, I think it's going to switch to an admin DRB. So we're hoping to have an approval at that next meeting for that. The admin DRB that has been approved was 1014 Washington Avenue for the building addition. It will match the existing building and it just gives them a little bit more space. All the colors and materials will be the same. In matters of information, the town council approved the amendments to the July 26th ordinance and they became effective yesterday. So as of today, we have a quorum at 3 members, not 5. So this will greatly benefit us going forward.
Okay. Thank you. And Councilman Goldsmith for council updates.
Good morning. Actually, there's been a lot of activity in the past month, and I'm going to hit these things in no particular order. There's discussions taking place at this point in time by the Historical Preservation Commission to save buildings, house numbers 206 and 208 on Washington Avenue. That's where the library is going in. Kind of late in the game to be doing it, but they actually had a presentation last night to the town council. They're asking for support as requesting the county to give some consideration to save those 2 historical buildings. They're both 100 years old plus, and they think they could be repurposed to do something else, such as a welcome center of nature. So that is taking place at this point in time. The chances of final approval will rest upon the county. And we had a presentation from the Director of Operations for the use of the purple pipe, and that's for basically treated effluent through our septic systems. And this water could be used for non-drinking purposes, not potable, but for irrigation. And he brought up last night, it could be used for fire suppression. And the fire hydrants, rather than using potable water to fight fires, we use this type of water. That would save us an awful lot in the utilization of our potable water. We heard hearings on the Hawthorne Yards down there where the old ball field is for the American Legion. And I heard testimony from many individuals in the community. We had a lot of written input as well regarding that. A lot of concerns about traffic. Too many people, the other concern they always have. And we had a table last time. We'll be voting on it this coming board meeting when we meet. The Roseway Crossings, we had a presentation. That's right next to where the Sage Point building is located here on Washington Avenue. And there's 72 units to be in there. Be a combination of some people will be set aside for handicap, some for lower income, and then some for market rates. There'll be a criteria to people who want to apply and a limit on income, vicinities and whatnot. I asked if by chance one of the criteria could be that the people actually worked in the town of La Plata, and the individual said, yes, that could possibly be it. Would not be a total deciding factor, but it's just one more element that would hopefully give people who work within our town an opportunity to get housing in a facility at a lower rental than they would in one of the other units. So that was positive. We held a national night out. We updated the stormwater management plan, updated the ordinance for the DRB, and we're working on that right now. We had the meeting today. We approved the police department for purchase of the drone and for their ATV as part of the funding already approved. The School seat allocations, we discussed that. We've always in the past had 100 seats that we operated from for construction purposes. We have never in the past, up until this past year, I think, ever used 100 seats. Now the concern is that with all the construction now taking place, starting this year, next year, that we would need more than 100 seats. Ms. Harrington actually did a lot of research on it and found out actually, if we looked at our ordinance and what we are allowed to have, we are actually technically allowed to have 250 plus seats. Now that has to be worked out with the county, but technically that's what we would be allowed if we so choose to. And we asked to have the support for Magnolia Gardens to go forth for their funding, and that's the one I just mentioned before. The Roserick Knollwood contract, we approved that to continue. Looking at parking reform, that's with our planning department here. We're finding out that we don't need as many parking spaces as we used to think we did need. And so therefore, we're going to be adjusting our ordinance and guidance to require less parking per unit, or however the planning department looks at that. And we've updated our priority funding area. Found out for single family annexations like over on Radio Station Road, a house there had failing septic and water. So therefore they had to be part of the priority funding area. And we annexed them in because that's where they get access to our sewer and water systems. Now they still have to be contingent to the town, and this particular property was. That's it. Any questions?
With regard to the historic properties at the location, proposed location of the library, I assume that if those were deemed necessary to be kept out, that would preclude the library from being there.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you, sir, please.
The two structures that you mentioned that are historic or old, 100 years, at the proposed location of the library, if those are deemed necessary to be kept, is that going to exclude the library from being at that location?
I'm not sure if you're familiar, the whole library has basically from Washington Avenue quite a distance back, and the library is going on the backside near the railroad track. But the frontage of the Washington Avenue would be more of landscaping, greenery and such. Those two buildings, the one that used to be most recently was the Winkler property, and that could physically stay there and not be impacted by Talbot Street extension. The other one, 206, would have to be removed. Discussions have taken place of maybe moving it physically to behind the 208 and facing the Talbot Street. Other options to move it to some other location. The key issue at this point in time is the town does not own that land anymore. It has been leased to the county for 99 years and all the stuff that's on it. So we really don't have control anymore. What the Historical Preservation Commission is going to recommend those kind of things and wants the town to provide a positive endorsement of their request to the county. So they're going to be coming back to us with a letter and drafting it for us to sign, and we'll have to discuss that.
Okay.
What is the opinion of the town council about those two structures?
I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty understanding you, please.
What is the opinion of the town council about those two structures?
All right, I can't speak for everybody. I know there is concern and reluctance to try to change what our expectations were at this point in the game. We wanted the library within the town of La Plata. We made a lot of concessions to do that. We purchased the land, basically giving it to the county for 99 years for them to have the library within our town. There's a reluctance to do anything that can jeopardize that current working relationship. So we'll have to see how strongly the request is worded as we endorse it to the county. So at this point in time, my feelings, I personally don't have a problem with it. I know the mayor has a major concern for it. So it's kind of a mixed bag at this point, I think.
Oh, it's an interesting and very valid concern. It is, yeah.
Yes.
We should have probably been looking at that 5 years ago, which we didn't, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes. I think going back to my discussion about at the last meeting about funding for this project, that I guess a question for Laura and then the staff is are you aware of any grants that might be available to help our town fund this library in the manner in which we would prefer to be designed?
So I am not, but I do believe that that is being looked into. One of the meetings that I was in, they have said that
Okay.
they have received grants.
Okay.
Okay.
There are so many grants out there that for government's purposes and many types. The issue though is going to be that I don't think the town can ask for the grant. It's going to have to be the county asking for a grant to enhance their construction. That's my understanding at this point in time.
And is the Historical Society, that's the Charles County, is that the department within the Charles County government? Or is that a separate historical society that's bringing up the concern now?
Okay. It's a combination of the La Plata Historical Society and the county. Now, last night, the individual who actually sits on the County Historical Society said he was here representing himself as an individual and not the county. Nothing really has happened at this point in time with the county. It's just starting, and the individual wants the endorsement of the town as he tries to then negotiate and work through the county infrastructure planning and things of that nature to see what could be done. Again, as we emphasize, it's kind of pretty much out of our hands. We can only recommend. We can't really control anything anymore.
Yeah, I was just surprised at the late date that the concern is being brought up. I would have assumed that this had already been considered by someone since the homes are 100 years old.
Now, they are in a historical district. They themselves, the two homes, are not designated as historical at this point in time.
The Winkler home isn't?
No, it does not individually receive the designation of historical.
Okay.
That requires paperwork to be done, and no paperwork is done.
Lots of paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Goldsmith. If there is no further business from anyone or questions, concerns here on the board, I will motion to adjourn this session of the Design Review Board.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. This session of the Design Review Board has been adjourned.
Have a good one.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.